Is your business a bit bland? Is it just like your competitors? Does it sometimes feel like you've created a business version of Magnolia in a sea of Magnolia? If that's the case, then there is another way. You need to be less boring. Welcome, Trailblazers, to the Annoyingly Optimistic Show, the prime hub for the most resourceful entrepreneurs and business owners who thirst for a diverse mix of knowledge, stimulation, and a touch of humour. I'm your host, Paul Inskip, ready to guide you on this adrenaline-charged expedition through the realm of business. Together, we'll traverse the intriguing terrain of ideas, dissect the codes of success, and present you with the effective strategies to worry less, make more, and be brilliant. I'm all ears to your feedback, so reach out and comment or drop me a message to share how this podcast has impacted you, sparked your inspiration, or offered a fresh viewpoint. Let's kickstart this annoyingly optimistic expedition together, and always keep in mind to worry less, make more, and be brilliant. A celebration of individuality, charisma, and joie de vivre that's sure to inject a dose of pizzazz into your business playbook. Whoever said business couldn't be a party was clearly not invited to the right soirees. So toss aside those notions of manuals and dull dress codes and let Be Less Boring inspire you to march to the beat of your own drum. It's time to take the plunge and dive headfirst into a world of unapologetic self-expression. After all, fortune favours the bold, and nobody ever made history by playing it safe. Now, brace yourself for a chuckle. Every time I recount this story, I can't help but laugh, and I'm trying my best not to. So, when your greatest accolade comes from the lips of an ecstatic 7-year-old, it kind of puts everything into perspective. Now, picture this. I'm a qualified award-winning master photographer, the proud owner of a high street studio, but my business was once a bland, boring corporate masterpiece of dullness. But I shook things up, infused a burst of vibrancy, and then out came this cheeky review that I often quote. And the reviewer was not a business guru, not a mentor, a luminary, but a 7-year-old, clinging to his dinosaur toys, sporting the remnants of his breakfast. He strides into the studio, eyes wide in awe, his expression mirroring the shock of a wide-eyed anime character. And then he utters these words. Now, my international listeners, you may need to Google to appreciate this reference. "It looks just like Mr. Tumble's house." Boom. Validation received. I, the man standing before him, couldn't help but beam back, matching his bright smile, decked in red, a rubber chicken in my pocket. I'll come back to the rubber chicken in a future podcast. And behind me, a 60-foot corridor adorned with bold, bright, exciting giant spots, precisely what the 7-year-old prodigy had noticed. At that moment, I knew I was officially, because if a 7-year-old says it, it must be true, less boring. So let's rewind 3 years before that. The vibrant, colour-splashed version of me you now know. That was nowhere to be seen. Instead, I was a poster child for boring beige, a corporate wannabe who was as forgettable as was unseen. I was in hot pursuit of a cookie-cutter image, chasing after the style of 20 other photographers whom I thought I had to mimic, while simultaneously attempting to project the aura of a multinational corporation. And guess what? This approach wasn't just completely off base, it was actively damaging my business. The further I blindly stumbled down this misguided path, the worse the situation became. So, you're wondering, how does shaking off the boring tag catapult your business from being a dull, underperforming dud to a shining beacon of success? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward, but listen to the end anyway. It's about being unabashedly, unapologetically more you. Now, to all the Mr. Tumble connoisseurs out there, and those who have just Googled it to understand who I'm talking about, I'm not talking about you donning rainbow-coloured clown suits or creating flamboyant alter egos. Rather, it's about becoming the most authentic version of yourself. The you who inspires, excites, educates, entertains, and even brings your customers to joyful tears. You see, we are hardwired for connection. We yearn for it. We seek it out and savor it. But when you shroud yourself behind a chilly corporate curtain, you end up concealing what truly bonds you with your customers. Now, of course, we all appreciate professionalism, quality, and excellence. But let's not conflate those values with the image of drab grey suit. And hey, no offense to the grey suit brigade, you're looking pretty dapper. The point here is it's entirely possible, even necessary, to bring your unique flair into your business. So let's drop the dreariness and inject some life into our work. Now, many successful brands and businesses and organizations hit their stride because we genuinely connect with them. We feel like we've got a backstage pass into their world and we plug into them, despite, or sometimes because of, their colossal size. This all roots back to our perception of self and our remarkable talents. Somehow, we tend to undervalue our ideas, our spark, convinced that to gain respect, we must brandish a stern expression. It's a logical fallacy, but one that just won't get you a rewarding, successful business. Listen, being taken seriously is a far cry from being Mr. Serious Pants all the time. If you're successful, bagging awards, delivering fantastic service, maintaining professionalism, having an impressive presence, in short, if you're helming a rocking, undull business, people will respect you. But slip into a perpetual serious mode, and folks just might flip the ignore switch. Now, don't get me wrong, there's room for serious work if it jives with your personality and sets you apart. But if it's more like an armour you feel compelled to wear in order to compete, you're just a yawn factory, and that's boring. So how do you dull down the bore factor and discover a zesty version of you? Well, brace yourselves for the tricky part. You have to unearth it. But I'm not going to leave you hanging there. There are tools you can employ, but it starts with you. How do you want your customers to chat about you? What 3 words would light up your face if your customers use them to describe you? And I'm betting punctual, efficient, and safe probably aren't on your dream list. If your business isn't inspiring those sparkling descriptors, it's time to roll up your sleeves and add some color. Now, also, take a good look at your competition. Are you just another grey suit in a sea of grey suits, a mere number instead of a free man? Apologies for the sudden throwback to a classic TV series there. If that rings a bell, let it spur you into action. Does your language, your style, your brand identity look like it could be copy-pasted from your competitor's website without anyone even blinking an eye? If the difference between you and your competitors are blurred to you and your customers, you're treading a path to snoozeville. Another aspect to consider is what you and your business stand for. Hopefully you're not promoting yourself as a money-hungry machine whose mission is to milk your customers dry. Please, please, please don't let that be your slogan. Instead, you should aim to create positive change, to offer something exciting, valuable, and amazing for your customers. You embarked on this journey to be the best, the one and only you. So how did you end up looking like a clone? Stand up for something. Set a tangible goal that resonates with your customers, and it'll immediately set you apart from the crowd. Think about the business, brands, and companies you admire and that you choose to spend your money with. Many of those are because of those values, because of how they make you feel. So how does your business make people feel? Are you inducing yawns or sparking whoops of excitement? Cowboy hat optional. Being less boring is about being more you, embracing your passions, your loves, and the feelings you inspire to generate. So let's get cracking. We've got some boredom to banish. Now, shaking off the bore factor is within your reach, right under your nose. Begin by recognizing the brilliance of what you do and understand that blending into the crowd isn't just bland, it's downright spine-chilling. Because that's when you risk vanishing into oblivion without so much as a poof. So make people care by wearing your heart on your sleeve, ignite their passion by flaunting your own, encourage belief by kicking boring to the curb. Remember, nobody ever made history by being a yawn-inducing carbon copy. Well, we've traversed the plains of mundane. We've unzipped the boring grey suits and hurled the yawn-inducing habits overboard. We've declared war on dullness and monotony. And guess what? We're winning. As I wrap up this exhilarating ride through being less boring, let's remember being less boring isn't about juggling rubber chickens or dressing up like a rainbow-clad Mr. Tumble. Although, if that's what excites you, do it. It's about donning the cloak of authenticity, flaunting our true colours, and making a splash in our own unique way. So here's your takeaway from today. Be the extra zing in someone's day, not just the grey suit in a sea of sameness. Be the cause of a hearty laugh, not a hushed yawn. Be the passionate flame that sparks curiosity, not the flickering light that barely keeps the darkness at bay. Now go out there, my fantastic listeners, my enthusiastic, optimistic listeners, and blaze your trail with the hues of your personality. Make them care, stir their passion, and above all, keep it anything but boring. Because in this grand show of life and business, the world needs more Technicolor, less sepia. This has been the Be Less Boring episode, where we didn't just toe the line of convention, we took a running leap over it. Until our next bout of fun-infused wisdom, keep it bright, keep it bold, and keep unapologetically you, so that you can worry less, make more, and be brilliant. So that's a wrap on this episode of the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Fingers crossed it's tickled your fancy with loads of insights, inspiration, and innovative ideas to address your business challenges with a wink and enthusiastic hop. Had a ball? Share this episode, sprinkle us with stars in a review, or get in touch to see how we can make your business dreams come true. For more goodies, visit worrylessmakemore.co.uk and get signed up for my Worry Less newsletter. Until next time, keep your worries light, your ambitions high, and your brilliance ever brighter.